Welcome to Fluent Storytime, where every story is more than just words. Here, you improve your English skills while being inspired by the lives of extraordinary people. Today, we will take you on a journey through the life of Albert Einstein, a man whose ideas reshaped the universe. This is not just about learning English. It is about learning persistence, courage, and the power of curiosity. As you listen, keep a notebook close, pay attention to new phrases, and let this story motivate you to keep learning. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in a small German town called Ulm. His parents, Hermann Einstein and Pauline Koch, lived ordinary lives. Hermann was a businessman who worked in the electrical industry, while Pauline was a homemaker who loved music. When Albert was born, his head was larger than usual, and his family even worried if he would grow up to be normal. Little did they know that this quiet child would one day be remembered as one of the greatest thinkers in history. Albert did not speak until he was about 3 years old. His parents grew anxious and neighbors thought something might be wrong with him. He was called the quiet one, but silence didn't mean slowness. Instead, young Albert spent his time observing and thinking. He could sit for hours, lost in thought, trying to understand how the world worked. At the age of 5, his father gave him a gift that changed his life forever. A small magnetic compass. Albert stared at the needle, amazed that it always pointed north, no matter how he turned it. He could not see the force that moved it, but he knew it was there. That moment sparked his lifelong quest to understand the invisible laws of nature. Later, he recalled, that experience left a deep and lasting impression on me. School life, however, was difficult. Education in Germany was strict, focused on memorization and obedience. Albert hated memorizing facts. He wanted to ask questions and explore ideas. Teachers grew impatient, often calling him lazy or undisciplined. One even said, "You will never be successful in life." Such words hurt, but Albert refused to let them define him. While he struggled with languages and certain subjects, he excelled in mathematics, calling it the language of the universe. Albert's family nurtured his talents. His mother encouraged him to play the violin. At first he resisted, but eventually music became his passion, a way to relax and think. His uncle Jacob, an engineer, made math fun, teaching Albert to see problems as treasure hunts. This playful style made numbers come alive for him. While other children played games outside, Albert spent hours reading and dreaming about science. He loved stories of great inventors and philosophers. One day, walking home from school, he asked himself, what would it be like to ride on a beam of light? That single question shaped his imagination for years and eventually inspired his most famous discoveries. At 15, life grew difficult. His father's business failed, and the family moved to Italy. Albert stayed in Germany to finish school but soon felt lonely and miserable. The strict teachers frustrated him, and he decided to leave school without finishing. Many believed he had ruined his future, but Albert trusted his own path. He continued to learn on his own, devouring books on science, philosophy, and mathematics. At 16, he wrote his first scientific paper. It wasn't perfect, but it showed his potential. He also applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich. He failed the entrance exam the first time, especially in non-scientific subjects like French and history. But instead of giving up, he studied harder, improved his weak points, and eventually passed. At the Polytechnic, Albert focused on physics and mathematics. He wasn't the model student. He skipped lectures, preferring to study on his own. Professors found him rebellious, but Albert was chasing deeper questions. What is light? How does time flow? Why does gravity exist? During this period, he met Mileva Maric, the only female physics student in his class. She was brilliant and shared Albert's love for science. They became close, spending long hours discussing theories and supporting each other through challenges. In 1903, they married, and soon they had their first son, Hans Albert Einstein. Life was not easy. Mileva faced discrimination as a woman in science, and Albert struggled financially. Still, their passion for knowledge kept them moving forward. After graduating in 1900, Albert expected to find work as a professor. But his professors did not support him, calling him undisciplined. Job applications were rejected one after another. Finally, in 1902, he accepted a job as a clerk at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. It was not the dream he imagined, but Albert made the best of it. He called the office his thinking lab. While reviewing inventions, he scribbled down his own scientific ideas about light, time, and space. Though his family lived in poverty, he never abandoned his passion. He once said, "I would rather struggle for my passion than live comfortably without purpose." Then came 1905, the year scientists call his miracle year. At the age of 26, while still working at the patent office, Albert published 4 groundbreaking papers. The first explained the photoelectric effect, showing that light behaves as tiny particles called photons. This discovery later earned him the Nobel Prize. The second paper described Brownian motion, offering proof that atoms exist. The third introduced the special theory of relativity, revealing that time and space are not fixed but relative. And finally, he presented the most famous equation in history, E-da-mc2, showing that energy and matter are 2 forms of the same thing. The world of science was shaken. A humble clerk had just revolutionized physics. After this, Einstein's reputation grew. He became a professor in Zurich, then in Prague, and later in Berlin. In 1915, he completed the general theory of relativity, which explained gravity not as a force but as the bending of space and time. In 1919, British scientists confirmed his theory during a solar eclipse, proving that starlight bent when passing near the sun. Overnight, Einstein became an international celebrity. Newspapers announced Einstein's theory proven true. He was treated like a star, admired around the world. Yet fame never changed him. He lived simply, often wearing old clothes, uninterested in wealth or appearance. He once joked, "I never think of the future. It comes soon enough." Einstein used his fame for a higher purpose. He spoke out for peace, saying, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding." During World War I, while many German scientists supported the war, Einstein stood firmly against it. In the 1920s, he traveled the world, visiting America, Japan, and Europe, giving lectures and inspiring the next generation of thinkers. But he also faced criticism. Some called him too idealistic. Others attacked him for being Jewish. Einstein answered calmly, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." In 1933, when Adolf Hitler rose to power, Einstein's life changed dramatically. The Nazis burned his books and dismissed his theories as Jewish science. As a Jew, he was in grave danger. Einstein fled Germany and settled in Princeton, New Jersey, where he joined the Institute for Advanced Study. He became an American citizen in 1940 and spent the rest of his life in the United States. Although safe, he was heartbroken by the destruction in Europe. When World War II began, Einstein reluctantly signed a letter warning President Roosevelt that Germany might develop a powerful new weapon, the atomic bomb. Though Einstein himself did not work on the bomb, his famous equation E=mc2 laid the foundation for nuclear energy. When the bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein was devastated. He regretted that his work had been connected to such destruction and spent the rest of his life fighting for nuclear disarmament. He once said, "Mankind invented the atomic bomb, but no mouse would ever construct a mousetrap." Even with global fame, Einstein lived humbly. He did not own a car, disliked formal clothing, and often walked to work. He loved sailing, though he never learned how to swim. Above all, his passion remained in asking questions about the universe. He searched for a unified field theory that would explain all forces of nature in one elegant equation. Though he never solved it, he never stopped trying. On April 18, 1955, Albert Einstein passed away at the age of 76. His last words, spoken in German, were never understood by the nurse at his side. His voice was gone, but his legacy endures. Einstein's story is not just about genius. It is about resilience, passion, and humility. He showed us that failure is not the end, but a step toward success. He taught us that curiosity is the driving force of progress. And he reminded us that true greatness lies in simplicity. Today, his name is synonymous with genius, but his life is proof that greatness is not about being perfect. It is about being persistent, passionate, and unafraid to challenge the impossible. As Einstein once said, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value." And that Dear listeners, is the life story of Albert Einstein, shared with you by Fluent Storytime, where learning English becomes an inspiring journey through the lives of legends.